Hello everyone and welcome back to yet another ad hoc video, and today we have a very quick video, but it's an update on the European Medicine Agency's review on finasteride and dutasteride containing products to see if there's some sort of risk when it comes to suicidal ideation, a causal risk, and whether or not this drug or these two drugs are going to be remaining on the market in the European Union. And I don't want to, tease you guys too much, so I'm going to get to the point. No, these drugs aren't going to be banned in the European Union. All that we're going to see is possibly maybe a change to the warning label. The experts have reviewed and they found that all in all, these drugs are very safe and they're still going to keep it on the market. So let's read some key things in this article. So they say that a warning about mood changes, including depression and depressed mood and suicidal ideation, have already been included for the product information for finasteride, and that any patients who have any sort of mood changes should seek medical advice when they're taking 1 milligram oral finasteride. But they clarify that in the literature and in the data, that most cases of suicidal ideation were reported in people using 1 milligram oral finasteride. But dutasteride works more or less the same way as finasteride. In fact, it's just stronger than finasteride. But they weren't able to find any sort of link or signal, and a signal can be something that actually is causally related in the literature, or some sort of concern that people are just talking about and complaining about. That can be a kind of signal, right? That signal wasn't really established with dutasteride. But I guess they're going to include that sort of warning label on dutasteride's product information as a precaution. What I find to be pleasantly surprising is that they found no evidence linking suicidal ideation to finasteride skin sprays, and I guess dutasteride would also be included as well in that sort of category, dutasteride topical sprays and whatever. But we already know that finasteride goes systemic, and there are people who still complain about having post-finasteride syndrome while using topical finasteride. So all in all, what this article is essentially saying is, yeah, people are complaining. There are people who are going to complain. There are people who worry about it, but there's no real causal relationship between finasteride and dutasteride causing suicidal ideation. They're just saying that there's a potential for people while they're using the drug to experience that. And that experience in and of itself can come from concerns about hair loss. People who experience hair loss, they have a higher rate of body dysmorphic disorder, and therefore they have also a higher rate of OCD. And with that, OCD seems to have a high convergence with suicidality, right? And I'll put up some screenshots real quick to show you the studies that prove this, along with some other information. So this drug, finasteride and dutasteride, these two drugs are going to stay on the market. And for the most part, it looks like it's safe. Yeah, as we've already known. And last year, there was a study that was released, quote, Association of 5-alpha reductase inhibitors with Depression and Suicide, a mini systematic review and meta-analysis, unquote. And this is by Alessandro Urelli et al. And in a review of 2,213,600 patients, they found that there was no association between 5-alpha reductase inhibitors and risk of depression or suicide. So this study right here from European Urology really puts it into perspective. And I think this is probably some of the data that they referenced in the European Medicines Agency's review. So guys, this is good news. And yeah, keep up, treating your hair loss, and don't worry too much. Don't think about post-finasteride syndrome. Don't dwell on it too much because it's not an established condition. Not even that many experts believe in it. And really, don't let other people's hypochondriac disorders project onto you. Anyway, have a nice day, and see you on the next one. Peace out. Also, real quick, let me just jump in here and say that I'm going to be working, hopefully this should be out this year, but it's going to be a pretty long video that debunks some of the most popular post-finasteride syndrome papers. So if you guys have any papers you want to send me my way, by all means, send it to the email in the description of the video. But yeah, thanks for watching, and you can use these screenshots as a reference for what's to come.